Okay, guys, still with me? I hope you're still with me. We're down to part three. Hope everybody has been enjoying my four-part overview of season one of Arrow. I appreciate it very much, as always. Pretty much, guys, I do this stuff for you guys. It's just me. So we're going to talk about supporting characters and guest stars and stuff like that. Just overall, and um, I guess the first one we'll talk about. I kind of go from overall who I like the most. So I guess I'll go from least to most that I loved, and so that's how I'll do it like that. So I guess what I'll start off with is not Ollie because I already talked a little about. I thought he was pretty good in the first part. So we'll start with the rest of the Queen family. Let's look at that. All right, Moira. Um, Moira Queen. I was okay with what she when I found out she was kind of involved with the overall course of the show in terms of her knowing that situation that brought her husband and her son and kind of caused some deaths. It was like I'm like whoa, like what are you involved in that? Like yeah, like what? Um, And as for Walter, who married Moira later on, I looked at him as like he's trying to be a good stepfather to Ollie and Thea and all that. So I really didn't. And then pretty much after that, he was kind of taken out of the show like halfway in the mid-season. So, but it was fine for what they were giving him. And then when he found out about everything, he wanted out. He wanted a divorce and everything was like. It's to the point I'm looking at, Moira like, you see, look what you did. Like, that's your fault. But I will give her credit for coming to grips with that and kind of giving herself up. She kind of is aiding and abetting a felon, something like that. So I was okay with that. As for Thea, I really didn't like her at all too much. They tried to branch her out later on in the series, like show her that she's got a heart. She's not being such a bitchy little rich girl brat. But throughout the first course of her, I'm like, you know, I was like, God, what a spoiled bitch. I'm like, I wish my grandmother was still alive. Just give her a whooping. It's like sometimes that's what she needed. So yeah, I was fine. Um, uh, in terms of the next person, I guess I'll talk about Roy. Let me get him out of the way too. Roy Harper. When I heard they were bringing him in, I'm like, okay, they look like they're gonna segue into him either becoming Red Arrow or Arsenal or someone else. And I from once again for what they were giving him, they tried to give him like he grew up on kind of the wrong side of the tracks in a sense, being that kind of like the glades of Star City were like the quote unquote ghetto and things like that. So you can understand where he was coming from with a lot of things, and I was just like okay, but when they started to have him and Thea start hooking up, I'm like okay, this seems to be branching out his character, and then when he got rescued by Ollie, and then he kind of had a purpose that he wanted to meet Ollie, and kind of wanted Ollie to train him, so he can protect the people that he loves. And I'm like, okay, all right, we'll see where this goes. So I was fine with that. Detective Lance, Quentin Lance, Laura's father. To me, he was a good cop. I'm not gonna lie, but he just looked like he was chugging that beer too much. He's chugging them down, like yeah, like, and he looked always like constipated when he talked. Like you ever seen when he talks? He's like, you're under arrest. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, you gotta calm down with that. But he looked like he was a gritty cop, but also like depression has hit him hard, and he was chugging them beers back a lot, chugging that beer back a lot. So I was like, all right, you know, I'm just saying that's how I looked at it. It was just like, chug, chug, chug. It's like okay. Um, but he was fine. I'm not gonna say he was bad. He was a good supporting character. Um, pretty much. Um, the next person I put in, I was gonna put her in the villains, but then I said, you know what? Let me just put her here. Helena Bertinelli, who will become Huntress. All right, let me get this right out the way. Personally, I hated what they did to her in this show. She came off pretty much what I expected her to come off, the psycho ex-girlfriend. Now, most of us probably had one of those in our past, right? The psycho ex-girlfriend. And that's pretty much now. In the beginning, they tried so hard for us to really, really embrace her and understand her, like where this anger is coming from. And then they just segue into, Ollie and her, Ollie hitting them panties, and that was it. And just like, okay, they're a couple now because he understands your pain. And then having her kind of become the huntress that we know with the crossbows and everything like that. I'm like, all right, whatever, okay. But overall, she's still around. She's not dead, and we saw something go on between her and Felicity on the last episode that she was in. So I'm thinking that we'll see some more of her later. I really didn't know, no disrespect to the actress who played her, but I think they really could have found somebody else to play Helena Bertinelli. Huntress is one of my favorite DC females. I love her. And they kind of did her no justice whatsoever. I know they, once again, I know they tried to segue her realistically and everything like that. But Psycho Hosebo we're talking about here. That's just me. All right. All right. So, let's get to some other people. Let's get to Laurel. All right, Laurel. Laurel Lance. Supposedly, we're Dinah Laurel Lance, aka Black Canary, who she's supposed to be. I liked her dedication to her job. She was very fierce, and she always wanted to help. I loved that. I thought that was really well done. What they made her focus on, how that. But it's her love life that was more like, here we go again. Like, and you kind of had to feel for Laurel. Some like she's trying so hard to be a good girlfriend, and things would pop up. Her mother would come in, and things in this, everything would twist. Her relationship with her father, everything. Still trying to get over, still kind of tweak, having a grudge with Ollie for the death of her sister and things like that. And over time when they came to some common ground, I'm like, okay, I like how they're doing it. They're having her do her own thing, and they'll switch back to what Ollie is doing with his own thing. So I didn't hate Laurel at all. I thought her character came pretty much well-rounded, in my opinion. But I would love to see more of that fierce attitude that we see, that we got kind of a tweak of her. Like, we see that she can handle herself in a fight. We saw her. But I, for one, don't think that she's going to become Black Canary. Not at all. She doesn't even... There hasn't even been showcased if she has her meta. They don't even showcase if she's a metahuman. Her canary cry. So, but that's just me. But she was fine. I enjoyed. She was the. I'm forgetting the actress who played her. She was nice to look at, definitely. So, but I enjoyed her dedication to her work, her theme, things like that. So, I was fine with what she was brought to the dance for. Very much. As for Tommy Merlyn, because I talked about his dad in the villains joint, Malcolm. Tommy started out once again big. First of all, I give him a lot of applause for his. This is supposed to be, from what I heard, this was his first on-screen acting job. He's more of a stage actor, and so I give him a lot of applause for that. To me, he was layered, pretty well done in my opinion, very layered. He's trying to be the good best friend. He's keeping a secret from Ollie that, when you were gone, I was trying to get with Laurel and everything like that. And then we kind of saw the segues of like then the relationship between him and Ollie started to get really wavy when he started to find out about Ali's secret and stuff. And that was another thing I also kind of, too many people started to know about Ali's secret, but when Tommy found out, it was necessary in a sense, and I will give him kind of, I'll let that one slide. But I thought his relationship really kind of was rocky, and he started to get to that point where it looked like he was going through depression really bad too. Like, he's trying to be a good friend. He's angry at Ollie. He's this and that. And it was just, like, she's mine. It was kind of to the point. It was like, okay, here's the love triangle that I was talking about. It was like Ollie can't tell Laurel he doesn't love her. He's not in love with her. He can't, because he still is. Laurel can't. Laurel even said in the beginning, like, she's drawn to Ollie, even though she doesn't want to be, but she's drawn to him. And like, look, that's love. Excuse me. So, and of course, we all know what happened to Tommy at the end. And yes, Deanna, I know you want, but the dude got a pole shaft through his heart. You don't survive that. He's dead. I'm sorry, Deanna. I love you and all, but he's dead. He's dead. He is DEAD. Dead. Sorry. All right. Now we're going to two of my favorite supporting characters. These are the two that I loved overall the most, and they're part of Ollie's group. So let's start off with Diggle. I love Diggle in the show. He really had what I like to call that big brother father-esque relationship with Ollie. He would tell Ollie straight up how he felt about certain things, and either Ollie took it with a grain of salt or he didn't. And I love their relationship. Their partnership, their relationship, whatever you want to call it. Diggle came off genuine to a T. How he felt about things. He understood why Ollie was doing the things he was doing, and he was like that conscience. I don't want to say Jiminy Cricket. Okay, let's say, yeah, he was like Jiminy Cricket, but just buffer. Just a guy that can back Ollie up, and I like that. He wasn't just the like, sidekick, supporting group. He was there for Ollie when he needed him, and I love that. I thought they did him very well. And the actor who played Diggle, I know him by face. I've seen him in other stuff, and he's always been pretty well done. And I will agree, he would make a good Jon Stewart. Hell, I even think he probably even played War Machine, but he was really good. I really, really, really enjoyed Diggle. I love that big brother father-esque relationship he had. I was cool with it, and um, very much cool with what they were given. Um, and then we go to Felicity Smoak, the hot nerd, computer geek. But Felicity also was very much. They wrote her very well. Like, she's kind of the quirky. I would say she was kind of like Velma from Scooby Doo, just blonde, but blonde and sexy, in a sense. Like, she really brought what she was needed to bring to the dance. In terms of her computer skills, supporting Ollie, to get here and everything like that. When she was needed on the field, she did her thing. Even though sometimes she would get caught, but she would do her thing. And I loved how they brought her into the fold. And at first it looked like she was just there for Walter, but then you start to see like the relationship between her and Ollie and Diggle really started to become a very tight relationship. And I loved what they did with her, and she was just very, very great. And I said it before. I told my brother when we were watching together, I'm like, man, she looked hot with the glasses on and even without her. Like, and she was just a blast to see. And I hope they continue to do that with her, and maybe even broadcast her even more, spotlight her on more, like maybe do a little bit more of her backstory. But she was very good. So yeah, there you have it. Those are some of the supporting characters slash. I mean, I honorable mention to Mono Bennett who plays Slade, and I'm forgetting the girl who was on the island with them. They were good too, but those are the ones that I really wanted to talk about as well. So once again, that's it. Part 3 down. Now the final part. I'll see you guys in a little bit.